So in this video, we're going to do a client interview with a soccer coach out in San Francisco. He started his ads about 5 weeks ago, and today we're going to have him share his results. So make sure you stick until the end of the video because I'll have Jason here share his screen, show you the exact ad we ran for him, all of the amount of money that he spent on the ads, the numbers, and behind the scenes process on how it works for him. So Jason, why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself, and break down exactly how many new clients you've been able to sign in the first 5 weeks of running your ads.
Yeah, my name is Jason. I'm the founder of SF NewGen here in San Francisco, California. And in the past 5 weeks since we first started, I've been able to close 15 clients.
Nice, man. And how much were you making before you joined the program, like in total?
Yeah, so initially we were making, I think, $1,500. And then now, since joining the program, we're making 4 to 5 thousand a month.
Gotcha. And how do you feel now knowing that your business is making $5,000 a month?
No, I'm super happy. I mean, I think who doesn't want money in their pocket? I
Yeah.
think at the end of the day, the ads have really helped us scale our business, and we're super grateful for the
Yeah.
ads.
100%, bro. Now, before joining the program and before running the ads, like, can you describe where you were with the business? Like, what were you guys doing in terms of getting new clients? Or I guess, like, how are the operations behind the scenes?
Yeah, so behind the scenes, what would really happen is, I mean, I would be the one, mostly leading it. And it was all through word of mouth. I think I have a pretty decent reputation here in SF in terms of just like private trainings. Parents are always reaching out. But it's only so limited. And I was, kind of tired of relying only on word of mouth. And I think since running the ads, we've been able to get leads come to us rather than us going to go get leads. And I think that's definitely been the best part of it because now we're consistently getting leads coming in and it's all about being able to kind of
Yeah,
just set
man.
up a program.
100%. I guess for you, like, what were some of the problems you were struggling with in terms of like the lead flow or maybe like the way you were running like the sales process from like lead to close?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was more of just like kind of trying to figure out, where the clients were, and we didn't really have, I mean, at least I didn't really have like a set like pathway. I think when you guys kind of laid out like, hey, this is how you close a client, it was super helpful because it was like, okay, I can kind of repeat this process over and over again, and at least like a small percent of it is meant to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like at first, I was kind of like bummed out about it because it wasn't working as much as I'd hoped to. But kind of when I got the hang of it, I was like, all right, now I know what to do and now I know how to close clients. I think my first probably 3, 4 calls were kind of awkward. I feel like they were kind of just like, all right, me like testing the waters. Obviously, I had practice with some of my other coaches, but it's not the same when you're talking to one of your coaches than talking to one of the parents. And once I was kind of able to figure that out. Leads started coming in more and more. The video
Yeah.
started doing well, and then the calls that I was taking were more successful, and I was able to close more clients.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Now, just to shift gears for a second, I know you probably saw like one of our ads about getting more clients, but just to hear from you, I guess like what really made you want to join the program in the first place? And I guess like what made you want to trust us to earn your business?
Yeah, I mean, I think initially I was super hesitant about it. Like I didn't know whether or not I could, trust you guys or, if this was going to be something that was effective and helpful for my program. I had, not to mention any names, but I had like previously worked with someone else and I was already on the fence about it because it didn't go as I expected and I
Mhm.
kind of felt bummed about it. But
Mhm.
then I saw your video with David and then I kind of decided to reach out to David and kind of see, how it went for him and we kind of spoke a little bit back and forth, and he pretty much just told me that, if you want to scale your business, you have to take the risk, and if you don't take the risk, then realistically, you're always going to be stuck where you are right now.
Yeah,
So
100%.
that's and then after that conversation, literally the next day, I called you and I was like, hey, like I'm ready to do it. Like I don't care what it takes. Like I'm ready to take the risk and just see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. So for anyone who's listening, David is one of our other soccer clients. He's out in Dallas, and he went from like 2K a month to like 8K a month in his first 2 weeks. And that's the video that, Jason's reference to right now. But in terms of like, I guess like what really stood out to you about the process? Because I know, the testimonials really helped you kind of like understand what the process will look like behind the scenes. But for you, like what really made you want to work with us specifically out of the guys who you've had experiences with in the past?
I think you actually promised real results and you weren't more of just like, hey, we're gonna make your Instagram look nice and clients are gonna come in because you look, I guess, like an actual like professional business, which, now our page does look pretty professional, but I don't think that's necessarily the biggest sell point for parents. Like it definitely helps, but I think what does help is like what you mentioned is like ads, targeted ads that are speaking directly to the parents and it captures their attention. I think when I first tried it,
Mhm.
like not running any ads, more of just like, putting our brand out there. It was more of like, a picture with a text like, hey, we're available, this and that.
Yeah.
But realistically, like we probably got one client off of it in like a month or 2 months. But when people are seeing the video and they're hearing the voice and seeing the person behind it, but they're also looking at the kids that they're working with, I think that's definitely what catches parents' attention. And a lot of parents in at least San Francisco are looking for help at the end of the day. And the ads have really helped us stand out compared to some of the other programs that are here in
Yeah.
San Francisco.
Absolutely. And for anyone who's listening to this, basically Jason had an agency who was basically making content for him. And like their promise was like, we'll post content for you. And Jason, correct me if I'm wrong, we'll post content for you and we'll get you clients. And what they were basically doing is like posting and praying for clients in San Francisco to magically find them. Now, the thing is about social media, when you're posting content and you're praying for it to go viral. Even if it goes viral, it goes to like everybody across the world. So like you got people in Pakistan, India, people across the world who don't necessarily live in a 3 to 5 mile radius from you. And then when you run the ads, what happens is you actually target them specifically to the parents that you actually want to see the ad in the first place. So for you, can you like break down that process? Like what was that process like working with that agency? And how did you feel like when you turn on those ads with us?
Yeah, I mean, I think with that agency it was great because from a I guess video standpoint because I
Hmm.
didn't have to edit anything. They were kind of just taking the content that I would record on the field and kind of just dishing, videos together. And from that perspective, it's good because obviously it brings attention to the brand, but they didn't really, I guess, fulfill the promise that we would get more clients. I don't think we signed any clients off of that anyway. It was more of just like, okay, the videos look nice, but then at the end of the day, like after I look at it now from that perspective that I have now, it's like the videos are all repetitive, like they don't really stand out, and none of them really went viral. I think they kind of reached out to us after one of my videos pretty much went viral naturally,
Yeah,
right? And then even then, like you said, I was getting people from India and everywhere else and not really San Francisco. So
right.
I guess the process with us, you were pretty straightforward. You were like, hey, we're going to use your videos and then we're going to draft up a script with you, right? And then with that script, we're going to target, the people in San Francisco or in the area that you want to target specifically. And once that happened, after we posted it, I mean, you guys were super helpful. You guys pretty much did all the video editing. You guys set the script up and you guys gave me feedback in terms of just like, hey, this isn't good enough. Like, can you make it better and make it more enthusiastic and make it, so it's perfect. And at the end of the day, like I was in school, right? So I'm a current student at the University of San Francisco. And when you were kind of telling me to repeat it over and over again, I was like kind of annoyed because I was like, all right, I don't really want to be doing this. And, it got to a point where I was like, all right, I'm just gonna sit here for 30 minutes and record myself and just send them to you. And
Yep.
then after that process, I think, we kind of were able to pick and choose some of the audios and
Hmm.
put them together. And then yeah, I think the targeting process of the ad was super helpful because
Yeah.
um, at the end of the day, like it was actual results, and
Yeah.
I immediately saw them. Like I even before I ran the ad, we posted the video, and I was telling you, hey Mo, like I'm already getting leads and I'm getting people reaching out, and we haven't even ran the ad. So
Yeah.
I definitely think the video and the actual process of the video is super straightforward, and it really gets the results that we want.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what most of you probably don't understand is like the video that Jason's referring to is the ad that we ran for him. And for the voiceover, which you guys will see in a second, the actual final product of the ad, we had to do a couple times because of the fact that when you're making an ad on Instagram, you want it to sound perfect and you want every single word to be handpicked correctly. That way you can make sure it hits the right pain points and the right desires of the parents who are ultimately going to buy the service from you in the first place. So I guess for you, can you describe like what that experience was like for you? Because I know you said you had some hesitations in terms of like getting the process up and running and you kind of weren't sure like it's the right thing for you. For the first days that you joined the program, did you feel reassured about the investment that you made in yourself?
Yeah, I definitely did. I think you made it very clear, like, yeah, you are putting up the money up front, but realistically, like, you're gonna make it back. And then when you're signing new clients, the money or the ads are pretty much gonna pay itself, right? So realistically, you're signing new clients and you're scaling your business. You're still making profit and you're not really spending a lot of pockets or money out of your pocket, besides the money that you're putting up front for your guys' services.
Yeah, absolutely.
But at the end of the day, if you were to ask me, would I do it again? I would definitely say yes because, you know, I think it's definitely helped our business and not just on the private training session, like the private training market, but
Yeah.
also on the programs that we do with some of the leads, like just through talking with them and being able to see where they're at, we've been able to close two teams. And that's pretty much bringing in $10,000 to our program that we initially didn't have, and it's all because of the ad, right? The ad
Yeah.
attracted the families in SF, and I knew they were kind of at the point where it's like, they're being offered something at somewhere else, and I was like, okay, let me use the strategies that Mode used or that you pretty much taught me
Hmm.
um to kind of target them and see if we can sign them as a team pretty much, and
Yeah.
it worked
Can
out.
you
So.
can you actually break down for people who might not understand like what you're talking about? Because like I know you have a few other programs that you're doing on the side. Just kind of like break down the process on that side of things and how that ties into everything else.
Yeah, so I mean, pretty much what we do is we offer overall like all everything you can think of, right? We offer group sessions, camps, clinics. We offer futsal, we offer one-on-ones, and we also offer like school-based programs. With the school-based programs, like kind of what I mentioned, it's like micro rec and like school or like school organizations. And kind of the way it works is when we ran the ads, we obviously had people, interested in reaching out to us. And when I was talking to them, I was like, okay, like what are your child's goals right now? And that's kind of following the script. We were like, what are your child's goals right now? And then after they told us, I would kind of use that to be like, okay, like where are they playing? Like where are they at? And they would kind of tell me, oh, we're at competitors team, right? And then from there, I'd be like, how's that going for you? Like, kind of just to make it more personal and see where they're at. And then with some of the leads, like they're kind of like, oh, we're unhappy. I'm like, all right, you're unhappy, and we provide this service, right? We're a lot better than them. We focus on development, and they kind of played into it. And then also some of the clients that some of the leads that reached out, we would speak with them, and then we would also provide our, programs to them, and then they would
Yep.
go into our programs. So
Yep.
that's also a part of it, and they're in our programs now. They're super happy because their kids are obviously getting better, and it really really fulfills the promise that we made in the ad and in the video.
Yep.
We're really helping their kids stand out and really improve on thear weaknesses. So,
Yep, absolutely. Now, there are no income claims here or on any of the websites or any of the videos that we make out there. But basically, if you are a good coach, like for example, Jason had, like he was positive in his service, he knew what he had to offer, and he just ran the ad. Now, Jason, for all the guys who are listening, I guess like there's a lot of sports coaches who feel so much resistance when it comes to running ads or getting on social media because they either don't know how to do it or they're just scared to pull the trigger and like spend the money on the ads because they think it might not work for them. So for you, did you have any of those feelings like in the beginning where you're like not really running your ads, you're kind of like just thinking about doing that?
I mean, for me, like I never even like I never knew that ads would really be this effective. And for me, it was like I was stuck. I was like, how do I scale my business? How do I get more clients? And I think if I would have gone through the route that I was initially planning on taking, is like, creating flyers and putting them out and kind of doing that word of mouth. And I don't really think that I would be where I am right now. I definitely do think, like I said, there's always some sort of hesitation. And for me, that hesitation wasn't more of just like it gonna work out. It was more of just like the money up front. Like I was
Yeah.
like, can I really afford this? And is this really something that's gonna be worth it? But
Hmm.
I think, David pretty much, like I said already, like David pretty much illustrated perfectly. Like if you don't take the risk, like nothing's gonna change. And I think, if you are a coach that pretty much if you have something to offer and and you believe in yourself, then why not take the risk at the end of the day? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
for me, like I knew that I was a good coach. I knew that my coaches were a good coach. I knew my program was something that, really has meaning. And it's not just another money grab. It's more of like we want to help players and we want to help them get better and we want to develop them. Then I was like, I don't see why not. I wouldn't believe in myself. And if I believe in myself, then I should take that risk. And, if I really am that good coach that I think I am, then it's gonna work out. And that's
Yeah.
kind of why I was, more
Yeah.
more willing to do it.
Absolutely. I guess for you, bro, like having been on the other side, what was that experience like for when you ran your ad and saw your first few leads like start coming in?
I was stoked. I thought I was like, I'm telling you, for me, like I was like, all right, Mo, I got this many clients already, and we weren't even running the ads. And when I run the ads, like immediately just coach, coach, coach. That's the key word that we use in the ad. And I was like, okay, like now it's going. And then it did get a little overwhelming at first because I was having pretty much 20, 30, like it was just over consistently. I was taking phone calls left and right. But then at the end of the day, it's like, that's what you want, right? Immediately I saw the results and immediately I knew, hey, this is legit and it's something that's going to help me. And now it's up to me to really close these clients. Because with the ads, like it's only like, you only get the leads, right? So it's really up to you and how much you put into it. That's what you're going to get out of pretty much. So if
Yeah.
you're not really into it and you're not really on top of it, then you really won't be
Yeah.
successful. And for me, I think one of the things that really helped me is kind of like the follow up or when they followed or when they liked, I would reach out because some of the parents, after speaking with them, they would say, hey, Jason, like I'm really grateful that you reached out. I was kind of hesitant and really didn't know like what to do. And I was kind of just thinking about it. But then when you reached out, I was like, all right, this is perfect because we were just looking for a private trainer. Or we were
Yeah.
just looking for this program. So in the end, it really just works out.
Yeah. And what Jason here is saying is basically when you run the ad, some of them might reach out to you directly, but some of them might follow your stuff, might like your ad, might comment on the ad, but not necessarily like pull that first trigger on taking the first step. So what we do is like we won't leave you to like go into the dark and throw you in the dark without knowing how to do it. So basically, we'll give you all the SOPs so that you can message all the outbound leads. So meaning like all the people who liked, who followed, who commented on the post, but didn't necessarily reach out to you. We'll show you how to reach out to them, which is what Jason here is talking about in terms of like the sales playbooks. So I guess for you, like, do you feel like the fact that the program, like our program, was super short, was that something you liked, or do you feel like that was not enough information for you to like really execute? Because
What
we
do you
have
mean?
probably the shortest program in the world in terms of like it's like 60 minutes long, it's straight to the point, there's no fluff, there's no BS.
No, I think that's definitely a selling point. I think if it would have been any longer, I would have been like, bro, I can't be bothered, to be honest. And I think I was pretty straightforward with it. It's like, I don't have the time for it. Like, I'm too invested in my program and I'm too invested in all the other stuff that I do that if you told me, hey, this is a week-long course that you have to follow, I'd probably be like, I'm not
Yeah.
doing this. Like, I don't have the time, I don't have the energy to invest in
Yeah.
this. But because it's 60 minutes, it's straightforward. Like, everything pretty much leads up to each other. And for the
Hmm.
most part, I already knew some of the stuff, like,
Yeah.
how to coach, how to sell people is more of just like putting it together and really focusing on the right things. Because if
Yeah.
I were to have a conversation with a parent, like for me, I would pretty much try to be straightforward, but it's also some of the other aspects of like, hey, like how can we make it more of like importance to the families, like making it so that they're talking and we're not just blah 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 and trying to sell our program. It's really like, hey, we're super devoted and we're super focused on your child and what they need, that we're listening and we're ready to hear you out instead of, hey, this is our program, like blah blah blah, let me know if you're interested.
Yeah.
So for
Which is
me,
what.
like some of the conversations I was having were literally like 30 minutes long because I was just listening to them and like trying to
Mhm.
work and like connect to them. So I think that was probably the longest part that I would really put into it because it was
Yeah.
like, you're speaking with the client. Like, what can you do? Like after
Yeah.
5 minutes, like, all right, I'm done talking with you. No, you can't really do that.
Yeah, man.
But no, I think it was super straightforward, and I'm glad it was only 60 minutes because,
Yeah.
it's really efficient, straight to the point, and there's no real like fluff, like you said.
Yeah, 100%. And I'd like to zoom in on what you said earlier about like the biggest thing is like the communication with the clients and being able to frame things the right way. Because like what most coaches do, and this might be you watching this video right now, is basically you jump on, you blabber about your certifications, your coaching ability, how your program is the best thing in the world, and how they should see you next week on Tuesday at 2 o'clock, versus talking to them about what they want, what they need, what their goals are, what their child's pain points are. And I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, like the program actually helps you like restructure about the way you approach the sales conversation rather than making it about you and the program, but making it all about who they are and customizing into their needs.
Yeah, I think that's definitely what's helped us out. Because I think at first it was really more of like one shoe fits all, right? Like
Yeah.
we'd use the same thing for everyone, but then it was like with the program, I kind of learned like, you need to make it personal and you need to make it specifically focused on, the child that's in front of you and the parent that's in front of you. And I think what also helped me is, with the program, it talked about how you can ensure you have more clients and how you can ensure that they be more consistent. So with the deposit thing, it's been really helpful because I can actually ensure that they're coming. They put a deposit before the session, and then after that, we kind of plan it out. And I know they're there, so I don't have to reach out every week. Hey, are you coming? Hey, this, hey, that. So it really saves me a lot of time. And then it also makes it so like, okay, I know they're coming, and if they don't come, I'm still,
Yep.
not losing anything and I'm not wasting my time because they paid the deposit. And if they don't show
Yep.
up, that's on them.
For the coaches who are scared to charge deposits, like before even meeting the client for the first session, what would you tell them? Because like I'm sure there's a coach out there listening to this and like, dude, how do I charge somebody before they even sell the service?
I
Because
think for
most
me,
coaches offer the free trials to begin with.
yeah, I think for me, I was definitely in that boat where it's like I don't really want to charge parents, beforehand. But then after kind of learning the process, I was like, okay, realistically, if we're gonna make this something big, like you need to make sure no one's wasting your time, and obviously you're ensuring that people are coming. So at the end of the day, you really frame it like, hey, we want to make sure that you're coming, and we want to make sure that, you guys are actually committed to it, and then from there, it pretty much works out. And at first for me it was a kind of a big thing. It was like you said, I didn't really know how to do it. So I was like, hey, like, we offer this, but now it's like, hey, just before, we get into anything, I just want to let you know that we offer or we require a deposit beforehand just to make sure you guys are coming. And then with the with the free intro sessions, like you mentioned, I think I was kind of bringing that up. I was like, hey, like, should I do this? And then at the end of the day, like, you shouldn't sell yourself short. Like, if parents are really going to be committed and they're going to be the ones that are coming in, that you really don't want the parents that are just going to show up one session, not show up again, or that they're
Exactly.
going to want to lower your prices at the end of the day. If you have a price, stick with it, because at the end of the day, you want clients that are actually going to be able to pay for it and not just waste your time and, be
Yep.
here and there and kind of dilly-dallying you. Instead, you want the high-end paying clients that you know are going to come and be consistent to your program.
Absolutely. And the guys who are haggling you for the extra discounts or like the free session, they weren't going to be clients in the first place.
Yeah,
And if anything, those free trials attract price shoppers who will leave you the moment somebody else offers a free
talking about
trial
time.
or a discount or whatever the case may be. Plus,
I
they're
think
like,
for us, yeah,
mhm,
I think for us, like I mean, for me at least, because I'm usually the one that's running everything. For me, it's
mhm.
like realistically, we're sticking to our prices unless like circumstances are like super, obviously they're hard, right?
Yep,
So we have some families that we obviously help out just because they were very sincere. They're like, hey, we want to commit to your program, and for us, it's like, okay, we can commit. If you're committing to us, then we can kind of help you guys out. But we only did that after the intro session. Like, hey, like
yeah,
our intro session, you're paying, and if you decide to commit, then we can work things out. Because
yep.
otherwise, you're just going to be wasting our time and really not being engaged in our program. And I think that's something that I learned from the program you guys offer, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Why don't you go ahead and share your screen actually and show everyone the ad we made for you, and then we can take a look at some of the numbers. Okay, so in the last 5 weeks, as you guys can see on the top right, November 4th to December 3rd, we got a total of 138 messages. So Jason got 138 parents reaching out to him. And then the cost per message was $3.04, which basically means for every $3 that Jason spends on his ads, Facebook or Instagram gives him back one new lead. And then as far as your budget, it was $15 a day. And then keep scrolling to the right. Let's see how much you spent in total. So in total, you spent $419. Now, there's a lot of coaches who are like, dude, there's no way like I can even spend the 400 right now. I guess for you, did you have any like feelings of like, oh, like that's a lot of money, or do you feel like that was justified in and of itself?
I think it was, I mean, I think for me, the biggest part was more of like the money up front for the program, which I was
Hmm.
hesitant about. But I knew like if I was going to be spending money on the ads, like it would pay itself pretty much. So for me, it's like I look at 419 and I'm like, I'm not even bothered by it because I knew more money was coming in. So realistically for us, so we charge $100 per private session for an hour. So realistically, if I'm looking at this, I really only spent 4 hours of our time,
Yeah,
right? So we've really used 4 sessions to pay pretty much for 138 people reaching out to us. So realistically, out of those, we're still profiting, right?
yeah,
So that money is really not really reflective of how much we're actually gaining. So it
yeah,
may look like a lot of money, but in reality, we're still bringing in clients, we're still signing them, and it's making up for,
yeah. And
what.
the really cool thing is like just to add on to your point, it's like those clients are staying for longer. Like as long as they deliver a good service to them, those clients will happily come back, which means that one client who came from like the $15 that you spent on day one of running your ad, you got your first client, that client can come from weeks, months, even years if you're doing a good job in terms of coaching side. I guess for you, like having been on the other side, why do you feel like it's important for the coaches nowadays to start getting on social media, start running their ads in order to actually like grow the business versus like doing like the old school way of doing things?
Because at the end of the day, everyone else is doing the old way, or for the most part, no one's running ads. Like there's a bunch of like private training sessions here in SF, and for me, it was like, I knew I had something small, but I wanted to make it bigger. But it realistically, like you can't compete unless you stand out from the other programs. And what they didn't like, I looked at all their page, no one's running ads. Everyone's just posting their stuff, and it's all word of mouth, like through their teams or people they work with. But for us, the moment we ran ads, like I was getting like you pretty much saw it, leads on leads, and I doubt people are doing that.
Having like seen the results you've been able to achieve, like what would you tell that person who is kind of like on the fence? They probably saw one of our stories, they saw their post, maybe they watched a few client interviews or they watched the training videos and they're really like they're on the edge, but they're not really like fully in.
I would say do it. The reason why you took the call is because you want to get bigger, right? If you didn't really believe in yourself and if you didn't really want to grow and scale your business, then you wouldn't have taken the call in the first place. You wouldn't have heard you out, or you wouldn't have heard Mo out for the most part, or you wouldn't have sat through that meeting. Like oftentimes, like if you weren't like I tell this to some of the parents, like you guys are reaching out because you want your kids to get better, right? And it might be it might be a lot of money up front, but realistically, it's an investment. And the reason you reached out is because you see what we're doing and you see the results that we're getting. So in this case, like realistically, for the people that are, on the fence about it or, are kind of hesitant, I'd say do it. Because at the end of the day, like if you don't do it, you're never gonna know. And if you do it and you don't, and it doesn't work out, like, this isn't the right fit, um, then you at least can say you tried. And for the most part, like after that, it's not on you. Like you don't feel a grudge. Like, what if I would have done this? What if I would have listened to Mo? Or what if I would have signed with Mo? And at the end of the day, I'm glad that I didn't have that. Like, what if? What if? What if? Now
Yep.
I know. Hey, I signed. He gave me actual results, and like now, if I want to, I can continue. But what Mo wants to do is he wants to teach us, right? He wants to teach you how to run your ads, how to do it on your own, so you don't have to rely on him. And I think that is like the probably like don't think about it as an investment where it's like you're putting money and you're just getting, results. At the end of the day, you're putting money, you're getting results, but you're also learning from it. And at the
Yep.
end of the day, like if you put into it and you learn and you pick up the things that Mo and his group is telling you, then you'll be to a point where you won't even need them, right? You're just making money organically. And I think that's what you guys are pretty much going for,
Yep.
if I'm not wrong.
That's the beautiful part about that because we're not just trying to show you how to get the results or get you the results. We're showing you how you can fish for yourself and get results for the rest of your life because that's where you create the friendship both on and off the business, which is beautiful. And I think for you, you've done a great job actually implementing everything because I'm not here to say like this is a walk in the park. So for anyone like watching this, we're not making any income claims. And at the end of the day, Jason came in. He didn't just like say he's in. He actually did the work. He put in the work every single day to be able to track his ads. Like he's one of the few clients who actually tracked every single day of like the KPI sheets, which we have behind the scenes, to see like how his ads are like doing every single day. So don't expect this to be a walk in the park in terms of like you come in and you get crazy results from the get-go. But if you're willing to put in the work, if you're willing to like just DM all your leads, call the parents, talk to the parents, be a good coach, and retain your clients, there's no way you can fail. And at the end of the day, it's just a proven process at this point. So once again, for you, like what's your long-term vision now that you've, able to see like the first 5 weeks?
My long-term vision is to continue doing this, right? Continue running ads, continue targeting, and then I want to get to the point where, I'm running multiple ads at a time and I'm getting multiple leads and pretty much bringing in more and more clients and pretty
Yep.
much scale the business in terms of private trainings. For me, like my goal, like as a brand, I want to have my own facility, right? With my
Hmm.
own facility, I can just invest more time. I want to make it bigger. At the end of the day, we just want to provide the best and the quality to children, right? We want to give them the development that they need, but sometimes it's hard without being able to stand out, and this has helped us stand out compared
Yep.
to other groups pretty much.
Yeah. Dude, really quick, do you want to share how old you are to everyone who's watching this?
Yeah, so I'm 19. So I pretty much started this when I was 15. It wasn't anything serious. I was, just getting it like it was just side money. And then I think this summer I was kind of like, you know what? I'm gonna make this an official Instagram page, and in 6 months I've been able to gain pretty much 1,000 something followers. I've been able to get these many leads and pretty much just scale the business up to where I want it. And it's not just the private trainings. We're pretty much going to, the
Hmm.
school stuff, which is bringing money in for us. Like off the ads, we were able to hire, we were able to get, like I said, two teams, and off those two teams, we're making ten to $12,000. So realistically, like I did pay a lot in ads, but I'm making a lot more coming in from those ads. So, I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Well, first and foremost, bro, congrats on all the success. And once again, like I said earlier, you've done a great job in terms of, first of all, you're 19. You're hungry. You came in. You actually not just said you're gonna do the work. You actually did the work, and that's why you are where you are 5 weeks later. So I'm really excited to see what where you're gonna be in the next year, in the next 2 years, and have your own facility and have two facilities and all that cool stuff. But once again, pleasure to work with you and pleasure to have you, see the results and kind of like see the manifestation of your goals and also like the promise that we made for you on that first call. And I guess on the second call as well, because you jumped on too. But I'm going to attach your Instagram page in the description below for anyone who has any questions for you. And once again, Jason, thank you for being here. Any other insights that you want to share with them before we jump off? I want to make sure I respect your time.
No, I just want to thank you because I mean at the end of the day, like on the phone call, like you saw the vision, right? You saw where I was at, and you pretty much told me like, hey, I know you're hungry, and I know that you're the type of person to put the work in. And for me, it was like I like everything you told me was so true, but for me, I was still super hesitant. And then I think I like if you guys really have any questions, like I'm happy to answer them because that's what helped me out when I reached out to David, and he was super helpful. And I think it's just super important to take the risk because, if you see yourself, and Mo obviously believes in everyone he works in, and he's super helpful, at the end of the day, like if I reached out to him, I know he'd respond immediately, or he'd be on top of everything, and he'd kind of reassure me because there was some times where I was like, hey Mo, my ads aren't working, like I'm not getting leads, I'm not getting clients, but realistically, he was like, hey, take a step back, look at it from a bigger perspective, not just focus on one day. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then we just get back into it. And the next day we'd get more and more leads. So it really is just a process and you have to trust it at the end of the day. And yeah, like I am super grateful that, it worked out in the end and I'm happy that I took the risk.
Dude, absolutely. You crushed this up in terms of like putting in the work. And once again, thank you for being here. And we're really excited to see you on the next interview when you do hit 15, 20, 30, and then so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And if you are a sports coach and you want more help growing your private training business and you already booked a call or you haven't booked a call, click that first link in the description below to book a call with our team to see how we can help you do the same thing. And Jason, once again, bro, pleasure to have you on here. You're a fucking beast. And now let's see where you're gonna go next.
Yeah. Thank you, man.